Crypto Clout, and I really hate making these videos with such bad news to bring to you guys every day. I mean, it seems like every other day we're seeing cryptocurrency taking another hit from the left, from the right, from the center. I really just need to I mean, anybody who's been involved in cryptocurrency for any amount of years is certainly adjusted to these levels of volatility. However, you know, it's always important to give you need to essentially just give out a helping hand to those people who are really suffering right now, because I can imagine how many people who were buying into these things 24 hours ago were seeing just such a dip, and it's due to multitude of variables from crypto in 24 hours. So I mean, it's amazing how this space has shifted so much in such a short amount of time. I remember back at the end of 2017, we were seeing cryptocurrency at its all-time highs, and now, I mean, just a short amount of time lately, we're starting to see all these different variables as they've come together to give us the current trends that we're witnessing. Now, you could view it as a sale. You could view it as you could get depressed when you see it. It really is a matter of the information that you have and the perspective that you take regarding the space. I mean, certainly nobody would fault people who just decide to walk away at this point. But I mean, just you know, my basic opinion when it comes to cryptocurrency is that I'm ready to see it through. I'm not really ready to walk away, and I believe that crypto is the future, but of course it's going to, those of us who are going to benefit in the long run are of course going to be tested along our journey, and this is essentially just part of it. So I mean, it never hurts to walk away for any extended amount of time. And I mean, there's a multitude of variables that come together on an international scale to deliver us with these numbers that we see on here. But as of right now, Bitcoin to $5,000 seems pretty likely. And of course, seeing all these different variables, I mean, according like we always talk about, when we see this much red, it's not really a reflection on any one of the technologies in and of themselves. It's more of a reflection on the overall state of affairs when it comes to the market and the developments that we've been seeing happening across the board. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I mean, I'm excited to see all these technologies on sale. I mean, I'm trying to look at this from an optimistic perspective. I know I'm obviously in more of a advantageous position than people who are just now getting introduced to the game, because I've had opportunity to you know, get the best of the good days and the bad days and everything in between, and that's essentially how you need to think. You need to think like a whale when you're looking at these sort of days, and how are the whales responding to this? Because you could choose to panic, you could choose to react in all sorts of different ways, and I find that it helps to remain neutral and try to but I mean, let's do some investigation. So Bitcoin down 8%, meanwhile Ethereum down 10%, EOS down over 15%. On Monday, Blue Line Futures President Bill Birch said that Bitcoin's decreased volatility signaled that selling may finally be exhausted and may be bottoming out around 6,000. I mean, I remember this sort of analysis, but of course I think that the value of Bitcoin actually is inflated as it currently. I think that 6,000 is actually really a pricey level for Bitcoin. I know a lot of people disagree with this point, but you have to take into account exactly what these technologies are doing in the real world, and of course Bitcoin has its advantages, as it is has the established brand recognition, and a multitude of different things that have happened over the past few years have led to a strong community. I mean, everybody and their grandmother's heard of Bitcoin at this point, but my point being, when people tend to see Ethereum getting hit hard, so they run to the top, they run to Bitcoin. And I think as things are currently standing, we're witnessing as a lot of people are probably panicking and moving out of positions with Ethereum Classic and the whole bunch. Let's see which technologies are getting hit the absolute worst. Game.com up 30%. That's strange. Academic up 11%. It's always interesting to see the technologies that benefit in these certain circumstances. But yeah, for the long term, I'm definitely still optimistic about cryptos in the position that they have in the long term. Don't get me wrong, and I mean, I just hope that people out there are you have to realize that you can't bet the farm on a whim. You have to do your research and make educated decisions. And but of course, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. And remember, I'm not your dad. And all that being said, I mean, if anybody needs somebody to talk to, the community's always here. Trends don't lie. Markets are going to continue down. Yeah, I'd have to say that for what we're seeing right now, that appears to be the case, and it doesn't really take a genius to notice that. But yeah, I mean, all these hacks and these various different things, data breaches, are really, I think what it ultimately comes down to, what you need to pay attention to is the public consciousness when it comes to these technologies. And the people, I mean, you have to think about the average everyday investor. People see a negative return on their investment, and it's discouraging, and it leads to a spiraling effect. And on days like today, I mean, it's very evident that we will eventually have to see regulations being put into place to keep better track of and reduce volatility, if we're going to be seeing these big institutional investors getting involved. So on that note, it is interesting to see how people are willing to flip-flop, and I mean, I don't blame them, but I'm in this for the long haul. But of course, if you guys are interested in connecting with the show, you can always do so through the Twitter, and you crying, I'm buying. Yeah, I agree. People are going to panic, and people are going to feel all sorts of different ways. And I think that it's important to, now more than ever, to have a data-driven perspective when it comes to these things, and really look at things from a analytical bend. But you know, all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.